You're listening to the Beats and Bars podcast hosted by BATTL Beats. This podcast is out there to shine a light on the most slept on and underrated rappers and producers.
It's BATTL, baby!
Hey, what's up? It's BATTL Beats here with the Beats and Bars podcast. We are joined today with a very special guest, MoReece from Lyrical Assassins. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, I'm going good, man. How's yourself?
Doing good, doing steady away. Me and the missus have been watching one of the MasterChef seasons, and we just watched the final today. So it was tense, but it was good. It was very good. But yeah,
Do you enjoy cooking?
I do. Yeah, we both do. To be honest, we both do like cooking. I mean, I don't cook as much as I maybe should, but hey, that's just the way it is. But I do like cooking. I say I'm good and I'm daring with my cooking, but yeah, I don't cook enough, which I probably should. But for those of you who are listening, MoReece is from Lyrical Assassins, and he does a lot of promotion for underground rappers and artists, and he has got a bunch of underground rappers that he is representing and promoting, and it's really great to see. And you've been able to link me up working with a few, which is, you know, great as a producer, getting to meet really, really talented underground artists, because I'm underground. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything. It's like I'm still underground. Not many people know me. I've not had any major placements or anything. So for me to go and try and work with, you know, a bigger named artist is very difficult. Whereas finding someone who is underground is like great, because then you can grow together. And that's the way that I see it. So to be linked up with you and Lyrical Assassins is great, because I get to meet a bunch of, or just see on your posts and reactions, a bunch of really talented underground people, and it's great. But what was the inspiration for you to start Lyrical Assassins in the first place?
It was a funny one because it kind of come out of a difficult situation. I won't go into what that situation was, but basically there was other groups doing similar things, and I wanted to do something for the artists that weren't a part of those other groups. And but I wanted to do it differently. I wanted it to be more open and free, rather than them having to, you know, fit in a particular order or fit in go by a rule book. Or I wanted to create something where we are a group. We are a group of promoters, and we are pushing artists, but we're doing it in a way that nobody has to give up any of their independence. Nobody has to halt their initial, you know, whatever path they want to take. It's just like, you know, we've got faith in you. We trust that what you're doing is good. We love your material. We love your passion. We're going to help you whatever direction you take. So that was kind of the idea. It started off with just like an Instagram page. It was just the Instagram, the Lyrical Assassins one, that I post on, and then more ideas started flowing. The next idea was to build a website where I could list all these different people with the links to all of their platforms, you know, links to their social, a little bit of background of who they are and what they do, and just build a website where people can go to one place and find their favorite artist or another artist or different reaction channels, this, that, and the third. And then it just grew from there. And then the more people that started to get involved, I started to encourage that, you know, why don't you make your own Lyrical Assassins pages, or why don't you repost from us? If you want to be involved, just download a repost app or set up a Twitter or whatever you want to do, and then just copy us. And that just literally is where it started sprouting out. Now I think there's 4 Lyrical Assassins pages in total now, plus 3 other people that are putting our posts on their own personal profiles as well. So it's become really big. Pug Mama is a big one. My wife Marie, another one. We've just got a new girl, Tiana,
Hmm.
Mama Spider's been helping us. So many people were joining in. It's becoming really fun, really fun.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. That is super cool. How you just started an Instagram page and then it's just like that. It's obviously a healthy environment because you see other people attracted to it and therefore going and reposting, starting pages, and that's the thing. In a lot of underground hip hop, everyone has to have some beef. Everyone has to just get offended by someone. Everyone has to just be in it for themselves. Everyone has to just shit on this person to get where they want to be, and it's sad. It's a real shame.
Yeah, I think as well, it's human nature, isn't it? I mean, you get the competitiveness, and then you get the
Mm,
different dynamics of personalities, and then when they start to clash, or I mean, I could. I mean, when I see beef on like the YouTube scene and the underground scene, it's not nice. It's, especially if you're in the middle of it or you're associated with people that are in the middle of it. It's hard, but I can imagine those in the mainstream. I suppose as you get higher up, it probably gets worse because the
mm.
competition more, people, the egos are bigger. You know, so I can imagine that it's probably across the board.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what's great to see is that there doesn't seem to be much drama going on around the Lyrical Assassin Man. I mean, I don't know the details. There may have been some really massive fallouts. There may not have been, but
Yeah,
it's really good to see that. And I think that is bred from that healthy environment that you obviously
yeah,
as the the head of it set that culture. And I've been reading a lot of books about business and marketing, and it's really good to see that the setting a healthy culture breeds like success for people and people wanting to be there, and I think it's really good. What is it you want to achieve with Lyrical Assassins then? Because I know you just started off with humble beginnings, but sort of
yeah.
where do you see it going? What's the end goal? What's like this is what we're here to do. This is where we're gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, it probably sounds really corny, but one of the biggest things I would love to be able to do is to be able to create something that builds a pathway
Mm,
for artists to take, um, without them needing to be tempted by signing contracts or giving up, or all of the dark side of being an artist and trying to come up and trying to be recognized for the craft and the talent that you have.
mm,
Just being able to say, look, we're an open door. You if you want us to push your music, we'll push your music. You tell us to stop, we'll stop. There's no dotted lines, there's no questions,
yeah, yeah.
no there's no animosity. Is if you want us to help you, we'll help you. If you don't, then that's fine. It's literally, I created it to be just a free and open idea. Um, even to the promoters. I mean, at the beginning, Pug used to ask me a lot, what do you want me to do? And I always said to her, whatever is in your mind that you feel works, try it. Just go do that. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Mm,
I do my thing, you do your thing, and then we'll just feed back to each other. And that was kind of how and now it's amazing because Pug's flying. My wife's now started to get involved and she's doing a lot of her own way. Even you decide what hashtags you want to use, what you want to use, and I'll use what I want to use, because then we're reposting the same stuff. We can end up going down different feeds.
mm.
So it's better if we're all using different hashtags. So it's just gradually grown into that sort of waveform.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And so it's almost like a springboard for like the underground artists to just to propel them, support them, and be there for them. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. When did you start reacting, like doing your actual reaction channel on YouTube?
My reaction channel came first. That came around September, end of August, September last year.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And initially, I had no idea. I was used to watching Crypt, No Life Shack, Screwface on Dwayne TV. I was used to watching mostly those four guys. and a few of the other reaction channels like Script Work, Mile High. And I used to just do the same thing as maybe a lot of fans do, is they go into, oh, he's reacted to Eminem, let me check that one out. Oh, he's reacted to this track or that track, or Tom McDonald, or let me check that one out. You know, it was a lot like that. And then I decided, oh, no, I didn't really see many people, you know, doing any reviews of some of the old school. And I'm a big fan of the 90s hip hop. That was where I got into hip hop, the 90s. So I thought, well, maybe I can do some like reviews on tracks that I used to enjoy when I was younger. So I started off doing that. I did like Tupac, Biggie, Dr. Dre, some of Eminem's older material.
Yeah. And
then one of I think it was Trippy J from The Asylum must have found me and introduced me to The Asylum's music, and I started doing reaction to them, and then it just opened up gates. I started to peep more and more of these artists I'd never heard of before. And I just became hooked. I was just hooked on the underground. I completely left the mainstream behind and the old school, but I just focused on the underground, and it just become a passion really quickly.
Nice. That is cool. I think there's a lot of reaction channels. They do the mainstream just for the views, and I get why they do it. You know, they got to pay the bills and stuff like that. I totally get it. But there isn't enough people giving the underground guys love like you are, and I think you found your lane as well, and then you just stuck in it, and you were like, there's a need, I'm gonna fix it. You know, that's like, you know, that was a niche. Not many people were doing it, so you're like, right, I'm gonna go and do it, and I'm gonna go and show the world all these really talented underground guys. And I think that's really cool. And I think, like, I remember listening to Chameleon's track, Promoters and Reactors, when he sent it me to mix, and I was like, this guy is actually just being a really nice guy towards like you and all the other reaction channels, and he's just really like, he's almost sounded like over the moon grateful sort of thing, just like, and I was like, that was like, that's what made me spur on to think, you know, I'm gonna get you on this podcast, because I think just from your just from the way that you do it and just the way that it's all ran and works, people just are like well buzzing with it and are just like, this is amazing, thank you so much for showing me love, you didn't have to. And it just gives those underground rappers like a bit of hope. Maybe if they're only getting 10, 15 views in a song, but then you're saying, go and check this underground guy out, and then he gets a few more fans each song, each week, whatever. That's like just great for them, and they just I don't know, they just must love it. Like, and
definitely. I mean, and it can be, it got overwhelming, I must admit. Chameleon is such an amazing person in general, and he's a great artist. He's a real generous, nice guy, and he's got so much love to give. And when he did that, I felt slightly overwhelmed, not in a bad way, but it was almost as if I couldn't grasp, like, because to me, I'm just sitting here thinking, well, I'm just, you know, I'm busy all the time, but I'm enjoying it. I'm doing something I enjoy. I don't really, like, sometimes I sit there and I think to myself, I don't feel I've done enough, or what else can I do? I need another idea. I need to push harder. So then when I get feedback like I did from Chameleon, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize I was even going that far. You know, I just thought I was just helping. But yeah, you know, and enjoying it at the same time. And then it was just so nice, and it blew me away, to be honest.
Nice. That is cool. But I was thinking, are you musical in any way yourself?
Not when I was younger, yeah. I was more, as a child. I was a bit of a dancer. I used to like doing like street dance, hip hop dancing. I used to adopt a lot of Michael Jackson sort of style dancing as well. That came to an end around my teenage years. And And it was around my teenage years that I decided that I wanted to attempt to rap.
Right.
And I started to write. I was good at writing, very good at writing. And I did rap okay on a few tracks, but the trouble that I had was staying in pocket. I used to try and rush my words out. You know, I was more focused on the bars than I was the beat, you know, and then I would lose it. But I did manage to do one album by myself, which I used a program called Reason 2.
Mm.
It was probably around 2001, 2002, which was okay considering I did it all by myself. But ever since then, no, I've never picked up a pen or a mic or.
Why? What stopped you?
Well, I think it was like I enjoyed the experience. I mean, I spent a lot of money because I bought a keyboard, I bought a Reason 2 program. I already had a PC that was fairly good for the time period that we was in. You know, I spent a lot on stuff to make music, but then once I did it, I sort of confirmed to myself, no, you're the ear. I'm not the music creator. I'm the listener. So I spent most of my time listening to music and relating it to my own life, which is why I think in my reactions I do go into this little world where I'll hear something, I'll hear a bar, and I'll be able to bring out a story of my own that relates to that bar. So I always saw myself since then as I'm more of a listener than a creator.
We need to hear some of that stuff. Have you still got a copy?
I haven't. No, it was on a little green mini disc. Remember the mini discs? A little sharp mini disc.
Oh man,
where that is, I would not know. I wouldn't even know where to get a mini disc player.
What style was it? Was it UK rap, or was it more influence from like Biggie
US.
and all that? Yeah.
Yeah, it was more. I was more influenced by the US than I was the UK, because I think at the time when I first got into rap and hip hop, nobody I knew was into it. They were all into other stuff, and then when I got real deep into hip hop is when the garage scene started to pick up, and the sort of like in the mid 90s onwards. So again, I was still kind of on my own, and it weren't until I went to college, and at the college I went to, that's when I first started to meet people that didn't grow up in my area. I grew up in different areas, or have come over from other countries to study, and then all of a sudden I was surrounded by hip hop, and it was like heaven for a whole year. It was like heaven. I was like, oh my God, I've literally gone from like 1993 to 2001 feeling like a loner. And then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by people that love the music I love. And then, so yeah, I was very influenced by mostly American hip hop.
Nice. I remember when I started getting into hip hop. I mean, I've always been into hip hop, but I started playing guitar when I was like 11. But then I started playing seriously from like the age 13, 14. So I've been playing guitar like properly for like 13 years, played pianos. Mainly I was into like indie rock, like bands like Arctic Monkeys, Kaiser Chiefs, Foo Fighters, just stuff like that. And then I started getting into synths, and then getting into loads of other, bands. I've always like listened to like Eminem, always listened to 50 Cent, always listened to like Snoop Dogg. And on my greatest mix playlist on Spotify that I've had, I literally put all of my favorite songs on. I mean, I haven't updated it probably for about 6 years. But it's nice to go back to, and there's such a random mix. There's a bunch of old school hip hop. There's Michael Jackson. There's indie. There's all that Britpop stuff, and then it's Johnny Cash, and there's just a bit of everything. So it's just a great place to have. So I'd say that my music, like portfolio or taste, is very broad. Like I listen to anything, but hip hop's always been something I like to listen to. But one of the first songs that I ever just thought, this is insane, I just loved it, was Many Men by 50 Cent.
Yeah,
Because I saw the 8 Mile movie by Eminem, and then I saw the 50 Cent movie pretty much the same time when I was younger. I was like, oh,
yeah,
this is so cool. This is amazing. And then I just got into it, started getting into like Sway and Lethal Bizzle back in like 08, 09. But
yeah,
really, I've only started loving hip hop again in the past sort of 3 years, and I'm still learning like underground people. I'm still learning like major artists. You know, I'm not really that into the major people. I'm more into the underground people because it's like
yeah,
these guys haven't made it yet. So I think like you've obviously loved hip hop for so long, and I think that's why you can like relate to people's bars and you can understand what people are saying, and you can, I think you probably can tell what's good or what's bad as well. But trying to be delivering your reaction in a good, honest way that's going to help them as well.
yeah. I think it's actually harder now, I think. I used to find it very easy. I don't know whether it's an age thing. Um, I mean, when it got to about 2010, around 2009, 2010, I started to feel a bit of a flat line. It wasn't, hip hop wasn't hitting me no more.
Mm.
It was the only sort of genre I really went to. I mean, other genres that I'd listen to would be like 70s rock. I
Mm.
like some of the old school, like 60s. I like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. I like those.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
reggae. I was a big fan of dancehall as well. That was like my
yeah,
side genre. Like I would, whenever I wanted to hype the place up, I'd put dancehall on. Um, but from about 2010, I went for a flat line, and it's funny that you said in the last 3 years, because that's probably been the same for me. In the last 3 years is when I've started to feel hip hop is hitting again.
mm.
But I think what I find harder now is determining what's good or bad, because I think nowadays there's so many subgenres, there's so many styles,
Yeah,
there's so many different personalities now. It was very easy in the 90s and early 2000s. We knew who Eminem was. He was the crazy guy. We knew who Dre was. He was the producer guy, you know, who done rap songs as well. We knew Snoop was the weed head. You
yeah,
know, it was very easy to distinguish. Now there's so many different styles of rap. You know, you could be listening to Kufis 1 minute and Elijah Kyle the next minute, and they're both completely different. They're
mm.
both in every way, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
both fire. You know, and it gets harder because when you do listen to somebody who is really really good, but doesn't have the equipment, or you know they've had to go onto BandLab. You know, they don't have the resources, they don't have the push, they don't have anyone else behind them, they don't have the money to pay for someone to get behind them. And then that's when you have to really listen hard, because it's easy to go, oh, that sounds terrible. But then you listen again, you think, but those bars are
mm.
on point, you know. And then that's the part now that I'm really sort of trying to master, like being able to really listen, see past the lack of production,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually listen to the potential behind it. You know,
Hmm.
what would he sound like if he was behind it? So that's what I try and do more of now.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean, it's easy to record a song on your phone,
Yeah,
but the quality isn't going to be very good. But I think I have a few friends that are musical, but they see what I do and on Instagram and they're like, how do you have the time to post so much? How do you like why do you not give a crap if you know if you're gonna get the piss taken out of you, or like what, you know, it's just like, how did you get the balls to just start the page and do it in the first place? When I first started, I
yeah,
didn't really know what I was doing. I look back, it was good, yeah, but it's way better now. But I just had to do it. I didn't have all of the fancy stuff that I got now.
mm,
Well, I've upgraded a lot of stuff, but it's like I just did it and just hoped that people would see the potential in me and not just think, "What's Charlie
yeah,
doing? What's Battle Beats doing?" Do you know what I mean? Um,
yeah, yeah,
so I was just like, just do it because I believe in myself. I'm just, even if if it doesn't sound good, it's going to get better. And that's like that's the cool thing about, you know, what you just said there is, you know, you're looking past the whole production, because you listen to a Drake record, it's going to be perfect. But you listen to an underground guy's record, it might not be perfect. They may not be able to afford, you know, anywhere between 20 and $100 to get it mixed and mastered. They may not be able to afford a 100, £200 mic. They may not be able to like have a vocal like setup, a computer with you know, a mic to plug in. They may not have that. They might just have the phone. But if the song's fire, the song's fire. And it's like, you think of
Yeah,
how many times, like, I remember a viral, you know, years ago, a viral video of just this young lad singing and this young lad with a Man United top playing guitar, recorded on a really shitty phone, and that song went viral, them singing a Rihanna song. And it's like,
mm,
no one cared that the production was crap because it was recorded on the phone. It was the raw talent and passion from these two young lads that just sounded
yeah,
amazing. And like, that's like the thing. A lot of underground people think, oh, I don't have a good mic, I'm not going to put my music out. Oh, I can't afford to get a producer or an engineer to mix it for me. You know, I'm just not going to bother. And I wonder how many people there is that are brilliant, who are really good rappers, that just don't put the stuff out there because they think I ain't got the stuff, or I'm too scared. Like, it's a shame
yeah,
to the world, because, you know, they've been given those talents, or they've worked
yeah,
really hard. Put it out. No one really gives a crap unless they're really anal about production or whatever.
yeah,
If it's fire, it's fire. Do you know what I mean? Just do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think artists, it is a tough world. I mean, obviously I can't speak from the artist perspective,
Mm,
but from talking to artists more often over the last 4 or 5 months than
mm,
I ever have done before,
mm,
and listening to them talk about, how hard it is, like they go through really bad depressions, especially like if they work solidly hard to make an amazing EP and they want to put it out. They can't wait for the fans' reactions.
mm,
And then when they put it out, I think the hardest part is if you put out an EP, because you've got all of these people on your social platforms saying, yeah, you're fire. Yeah, put it out. Drop it tonight. Yeah, go on. I can't wait. Fire emojis, fire emojis, fire emojis. And you're looking and you're thinking, God, there's hundreds and hundreds of people asking for this EP. And then you put it out and then you look and it's like 20 monthly listeners. And you're like, well, where all them hundreds of people got? So it can be I can imagine that must be
mm,
painful.
mm. Definitely. And as a producer, I can relate as well, because I've made YouTube videos where I'm like, this is for sure going to go viral. Like, I remember making like a funny TikTok skit about um, no one could buy toilet roll in the start of lockdown. So I made a beat literally using a toilet roll, put it on TikTok, and it got like 5 likes, literally. And I was like, I'm sure this, you know, when you just think, right, this is going to be like, everyone's going to love this. It's going to be amazing. But unfortunately, it didn't do very well. I was gut for like a week. I was like gutted. I didn't have motivation
Yeah.
to make beats, make videos. I obviously turned it around, but I was so upset. So I can, not upset, that's the wrong word. Makes me sound like right numpty, but I was just disappointed. That's probably a better word. So I can
Yeah.
totally understand where these rappers are coming from, because it's like, it's devastating when you put a video out or you put a beat out and it just
Yeah.
doesn't get the traction that you think you deserve. Um,
Yeah.
but they'll get there in the end. You know, that's what I keep
Yeah.
telling myself.
I think sometimes it's like, I mean, the part that I can relate to is because on the same, there's a lot of saturation as well. So, it's the same with reaction channels, which is why I kind of relate to artists in a way. Um, let's just say, someone might put out a reaction to, I don't know, the Kid Cudi and Eminem, and then you look at them and they're like, oh, 40,000 views. So you think, well, I ain't heard that track yet. Let me put my reaction out. And then you put your reaction out, 500 views. And then you think, but I think what it is the saturation as well. There's so many reaction channels now. There's so many independent artists. I think YouTube, BandLab, and Spotify, all these platforms have made it so much easier.
to
But
release. Yeah.
yeah, but they've made it so much harder to compete
Mm.
because there's so many and it's so saturated. So the fans, when they're sending them fire emojis saying they can't wait for the EP, they probably were telling the truth. But then the short-term memory, and they've been hit by about 30, 40 artists since then. So by the time your EP drops, they're on this one now, or they're on that EP, because it's so fast paced.
Yeah, and the algorithm as well doesn't always show your stuff up, like especially on
No.
Instagram. Like I remember, I think I don't know if this is true, but my Instagram account got a lot slower and got a lot less followers almost overnight one time because I don't know what happened, but my Instagram account's been, hasn't been growing as much as it was when I first started. And I don't know
Yeah.
why. Maybe I've been shadow banned or, I don't know, maybe, but the algorithm is there's just so much going on where you put a post
Yeah.
up and it might not even show it to your followers. I think on Instagram it shows it to um, like your top 30 people, and then if they
Yeah.
like it, then it gets boosted up the feed, then more and more people see it. So it's true, the saturation definitely screws over independent artists as well.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, and it's such a shame. Yes, it's so much easier to get your music out there, but secondly, it's even harder to actually get people to listen to it. That's
Yeah.
why people need to come up with creative ways of doing it,
Yeah.
which then is a challenge in itself. But yeah, that's the thing. I think people will get there eventually. I managed to get on an Instagram live with Curtis King, who's a big producer name, and I asked him the question. I said, "How do you stay motivated when you know that your stuff's fire, but you're not getting the recognition or the growth that you think?" And he basically just said, um, "Don't look at the views."
Hmm.
He said, "Do you love what you do?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I love what I do." And he's like, "Right, well, just keep doing what you're doing, and then it'll come." I was like, and then it clocked, and
Yeah.
then it's like, right, this could take 10 years, this could take 20 years, this could take
Yeah.
6 months. I'm just going to keep putting my stuff out, my music out. I'm just going to keep grinding, and then it happens. It doesn't. Whatever. I've had fun on the way. I'm doing what I love. I'd much rather be sitting in my studio desk making music, mixing songs, than coming home and just doing nothing, seeing my
Yeah.
mates going down to the pub, just wasting my life. I'd rather do something I love. It might lead to somewhere. And if it doesn't, fine, I've given it a good go. But
Yeah.
the artist struggle is real. It's the same for the producers. It's so saturated. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went through a little phase about a month ago where I was just going to give up reacting. I said, right, I'm just going to do promoting now. I'm giving up reacting. And it was YouTube. What was happening is I hit my 3K subs. I hit 3K. Then a couple of people put up stories saying, congratulations, MoReece J hitting 3K. And then I go back and it says 2.9. So I'm like, well, okay, maybe I lost a couple of subs somewhere. I didn't go in the studio to peep the exact number. It just said 2.9. So I was like, okay, didn't bother me. And then the next day it said 2.89. So I'm thinking, Jesus, I've lost like over 100 subs. Then I sent an email to YouTube asking them, like, is there a reason why? Because usually they'll say if they've found spam accounts or anything like that, they email you and say, we've removed these because they're not valid accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Never had anything like that. I've never had any message. So I emailed them, they didn't respond. I woke up after I sent the email. I got up the next day. I peeped the channel. It was back up to 3K. And then it just kept doing that for about 2 weeks. It was going to do 3K, 2.9, 2.8, 3K. I was like, this thing's gone crazy. So I kept emailing YouTube. They never respond. Even to this day, still haven't had a response from YouTube. And this is over a month ago now. And it got to the point, I was so focused on what was going on with my subs. I was losing focus of why I was actually doing what I was doing. So
Yeah.
I just switched them off. You know, I switched the subs off because it was just driving me crazy. Look what YouTube is doing. I mean, I think they've kind of stopped doing it now. I don't know whether it was what they call this purge thing or what was going on, but it was fluctuating. And then I noticed recently a few people have been posting it's been happening to them. And one of the people that I was quite shocked at was quite a big reactor, big compared to me, but and he must have lost. I think he said he lost like 400 subs overnight, just gone. 400 subs gone. I said it's such a pain. So I switched mine off, and as I say, if anyone asked me when they asked me like, oh, how comes we can't see your subs? I said because I don't really want to be judged on it, especially after what I've just experienced. I mean, I was kind of embarrassed. I know I shouldn't have been, but when I thought there's stories up on IG congratulating me for being at 3K, and I'm no longer at 3K, and it was like it was bugging.
Yeah.
So,
but at least it made you realize that this is distracting me from my goals, and I'm going to turn it off. And then that for you was what got you back motivated, which is good. And if that helps you stay motivated, great. It might not be for someone else, but it helps you. But yeah, that's great. But I think we'll start to wrap it up. But it's obvious you're from the UK. But whereabouts in the UK is it that you're from? Because I'm from York.
Okay. I'm originally from East London, but I live in Luton now. My wife's from Luton, so I moved up here, just in the town by the town centre of Luton. But I'm originally from the East End of London.
Yeah,
I've been in Luton now.
I could probably tell.
Yeah, everybody said it's funny because if people don't know straight away that I'm from the East End of London, I often get accused of being Australian.
Right, I
think
can't see
it's
that.
the twang. I don't know what it is. It must be like there must be a twang there that they're picking up. I don't know, but
Mental.
yeah, a couple of times they say, "Are you from Australia?" I'm like, "No, I'm from England."
Mental. But I mean, the English rap scene for me, I've never really been into it that much. I liked Sway, I liked Lethal Bizzle back in the day. I liked Tiny Temper. Ironic, he's good as well. But I find American rap, especially the 90s stuff, the old school stuff, just the best. Like I don't know what it is. English rap's almost just a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think not. When what I'm about to say, I don't mean across the board, but I've always been US rap fan, and I never really took too much to the UK scene until probably somewhere in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I would say that the UK now is probably giving a lot of the US a run for their money. Not all of it, but I mean, in terms of, I mean, I don't know if you've heard some of the guys that we're promoting at Lyrical Assassins, like G Kid, 10K, Back to 50.
I know 10K well. Yeah, we've hung out a few times actually in real life, which you don't often see with online people. I've even stayed at his house when we was working on a song together. So 10K is really good actually.
Yeah, and I know he's heavily inspired by the old school. Well, I say old school, the early 2000s UK scene. I know he loves his UK garage as well. But when I listen to how the UK has developed, I mean, I remember back probably just before the 2000s or around about the 2000s sort of era, everything was just repeating the same words or spelling out words, and it was all like M to the I to the C. It was all like that. And but now they're spitting real fire bars, and they're like rapping. They're really rapping, and it's actually a lot of the US mainstream now that's not saying as much as they used to, and the UK is now saying more than they used to. So I've kind of peaked that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think Stormzy has really helped push the boundaries for English rap as well. I think maybe people have mixed opinions of him, but I really like Stormzy, and
As an artist, yeah. As a person, I thought he was very arrogant.
yeah, I mean that's fair enough to say. But
Yeah, but that was only, I say that, but it was only, to be honest, I based that on an opinion that he had of US hip hop. He made, I think he was kind of not degrading, but he was sort of playing down the level that US hip hop was on. And if he would have mentioned names like, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, I wouldn't have probably been bothered by what he said, but he brought up some big names. I think he brought up Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, all the goats. And I was like, no, you can't touch those guys. I was like, you can't touch those guys.
Well, if he said that I didn't hear him say that, but that is a bit rich. You don't just go, you trying to think of a young football player, like, I don't know, can't think of any, but you wouldn't.
I think he was saying that they were too nice and polite with their records, and that the UK was much harder and more vicious. I think that's what he was trying to say. And I was like,
it's like as a young English footballer, you wouldn't shoot down David Beckham at all, would you? Like,
no.
He's probably one of the best. You just don't shoot down the goats. It's just you just don't do that. Oh, Stormzy, what an idiot! But his music's all right. I like his music. But
very talented. Very talented.
He's good. But I think we'll come to an end now, bro. But thanks for coming on. Where can we all check out your stuff? Obviously, we mentioned Lyrical Assassins, but do you just want to mention where we can all check you out, and then it'll all be in the description as well?
Well, I do have a link tree, if that's easier for anyone, which is it's just linktree/Lyrical Assassins, and it's got links to all of the pages, the hip hop shop, the website, reaction channel. It's got everything there.
Sweet, sounds good. But thanks for coming on. We've had a really good chat, and it's nice to have a guest who's coming from a different perspective than just a normal artist or producer. So thank you for coming on, man. It's the Beats and Bars podcast. Thank you for listening to the Beats and Bars podcast. I'm your host, BATTL Beats. See you next week.
It's battle, baby.